In lieu of reading one of my books, today I'm going to read instead the letter that I wrote to Campbell Soup Company in order to determine whether or not they use water with fluoride in it, and their response to me. Dear Sir, I am writing to determine if you use municipal water in the canning, bottling, or processing of your products, and whether that water contains fluoride. Do you use any form of fluoride in your processing and canning, bottling, or in your products at all? Do you add fluoride to the water that you use in processing and making of your foods or beverages? If not all of your products, but only some, can you tell me which ones do contain fluoride from manufacturing processes or from the water used in the production of your beverages? Thank you for your assistance. Okay, pretty straightforward, right? Here's the response that I got back from Campbell's. Thank you for taking the time to contact Campbell's Soup Company to learn more about the quality of the water used in our products. At Campbell, we constantly strive to deliver foods that are good tasting, nutritionally healthy, and of the highest quality. Each of our plants is equipped, staffed, and monitored to ensure that the water we use is safe. We meet or exceed the water quality standards established by the U.S. EPA and outlined in the Safe Drinking Water Act. Additionally, we adhere to all requirements established by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and the U.S. Department of Agriculture under their good manufacturing requirements. I hope I've been able to answer your question. Please contact the Consumer Response Center or visit Campbell's website if you have additional questions. And that's from Susan Miller, the Consumer Services representative. She should be in politics because that's a very well-crafted non-answer to my question. And the fact that they chose not to answer the question and instead beat around the bush about how they use safe water, which, well, of course, municipal water with fluoride added is recognized as safe. So I'm going to say Campbell's products are filled with fluoride because they choose not to address the question at all. Tell me to go fuck off. Tell me you aren't going to answer me. Say there is fluoride in the water. Say there isn't. But nothing makes me more mad than someone who completely avoids the question altogether. And that tells me that they have something to hide. Because I'm interested in fluoride, they don't want to tell me straight up that they have fluoride in their product. So, Campbell's, filled with fluoride. As far as I'm concerned, because they chose not to answer a very simple and direct question. Now, I have a comment that I'd like to make on the Hutaree militia again, and how this whole thing is starting to take shape. And to illustrate something that one of the viewers left as a comment, and something that I neglected to mention before, and that is why I am not too keen on starting groups, because almost every group of this type, militia or otherwise, is infiltrated. They either have an informant inside, or they actually have actual agents, if it's a big enough and more well-known organization, posing as members in order to spy on these groups of people. It wouldn't surprise me a bit if there was someone inside the group that was actually egging them on. We've seen this before. I'm not saying that's true in this case because I haven't looked into it enough to give it any, a solid analysis beyond that. And I'm just saying you need to be prepared for those possibilities. And that's why I am pretty much not going to get involved in any groups like that, because they're either infiltrated directly with agents or they have informants inside them. And that's why you have to be extremely careful whenever you decide to get involved with other people. And you better know who you're getting involved with. And I mean really know them. Before you decide to put together something that you want to keep and keep private. Now, I don't excuse illegal activity either. And if they were actually doing something that was actually a real threat and it wasn't just, whatever, then I don't excuse it. And they certainly need to answer for that. But remember, too, that we've seen a history of this in this country. We've had groups infiltrated. We've had that information used. We've had actually goading and providing of material support by agents in place in order to facilitate actions so that then a movement could be taken against them. So just bear that in mind as well. And finally, I'd like to just have a little political dialogue here. In light of the fact that a few people leave comments every once in a while on my videos, and depending on what the topic is that I'm going over that particular video, they give a typical knee-jerk response. If I'm bashing the right, a few people might say I'm some sort of leftist Democrat, or if I'm bashing the Democrats, I'm a right-wing Republican. And I would like to use this as an instruction time for people who are mentally conditioned by the system that we live in order to operate in that two-system paradigm, that two-party fraction, okay? Because we have been conditioned as people to think in that particular way, to think in those terms. And what you need to realize is that every time you put forward a knee-jerk response in that fashion, you are hardening the programming that's within you. Instead, I ask you to think outside of that programming. Do not jump to a conclusion that's hardwired into your brain. Instead, think. There are different political philosophies besides the Republicans, besides the Democrats, besides liberal, besides right-wing, besides socialism, besides fascism. There are different political philosophies, and hey, guess what? You can have some aspects of one and some of another. Yes, it's possible. As I've said before, I'm a left-leaning progressive. When it comes to social policies, I'm pretty far left. When it comes to economic policies, I'm pretty far left. And I don't make any bones about it. When it comes to civil rights, civil liberties, constitutional protections, I am hardcore on that. I think our rights to privacy, our civil liberties need to be defended and need to be fought for tooth and nail. And when it comes, like I said, to economics, I'm to the left because I am anti-corporate. I'm anti-fascism. And I'm anti-government in the sense that I do not want the government intruding in my life. So in some ways I'm libertarian, but in others I'm not. I'm entirely not. So I don't fit any of those paradigms. And hopefully you don't either, because you think for yourself. You think for yourself and you think what is best for each particular situation. And you come up with your own political philosophy. And that's what you build on whenever you want to change things. You try to find people that hold your views, put them into office. You try to enact laws and change statutes to conform to your ideas, your own individual ideas. not what has been programmed and downloaded into your brain. If you hear me bashing the Democrats, it doesn't mean I'm a Republican. And if you hear me bashing the Republicans, it doesn't mean I'm a Democrat. And if I'm anti-Obama, it's because of what he stands for, not because he's a Democrat. It's because he's a liar. If I'm bashing the Republicans, it's not because they're Republicans. It's because they're lying scum. Same goes for the Democrats. If I'm bashing them, it's because they're lying, deceitful scum. And I'm going to call them all out on it. And I'll continue to do that. Hopefully this will serve as an object lesson. Thank you. Good night.